folks, and welcome back to the Culture Books podcast. My name is John. I'm joined as always by...
Sheridan.
Okay, it is the 10th of January 2026. I'd never thought I'd live to see the year 2026, but here we are. Happy New Year to you all. We didn't quite make it to the Gold Coast recording before the end of the new year that we promised, but...
I don't think we promised.
We said we
I was specific.
we foreshadowed, but we didn't quite make it, but it's only the 10th. We haven't, by our standards, this is pretty prompt. So we're doing quite well. Just quickly for housekeeping, this is Season 4, Episode 3, covering the Iain M. Banks book, The State of the Art, and in particular, we are into Chapter 2 of the novella, The State of the Art. Now, Sheridan, at this point, I need to recap where the book is at so far, and then you need to recap the chapter. Correct. So, do you want to count me in?
3, 2, 1, go.
So the culture is a galactic, not empire, the opposite of an empire, run by super intelligent machine minds who keep trillions of humans as pets. And we met our old friend Dizzy Etzma, who is about to tell the story of her visit to Earth in the 1970s.
Good job.
Okay, that's with 7 seconds to spare. Okay, so Sheridan, you now have 30 seconds with a much more challenging job of recapitulating this chapter, Chapter 2. What's the name of the chapter again?
Stranger Hear Myself.
Yeah. Okay, you're on in 3, 2, 1.
Smar is on Earth with a slightly homophobic mind who's sending her down there for missions while it just scrapes up the data from the world like some sort of crazy AI.
Very much like an AI.
It's very much like AI. And she wants to make contact with the humans because she thinks they're awful, but the mind's skeptical, and so he's about to send her on what she thinks is a date in Paris.
Okay, you did that with 2 seconds to spare. Very well done. Great. And a mostly accurate recap. So, there we go.
2026 is
it's a
off to a good start. Maybe it's the founding of the chapter and something that's within my realm of understanding that assists.
Look, I found it very weird rereading this book because when I first read it, it was in the 1990s, and so events weren't that far changed, and also the internet hadn't really started to happen. Yes, it had started to happen, but
not Web 2.0.
Yeah, not the mobile phone based internet as well.
With all the Internet of Things.
Yeah, with every loser with an iPhone posting their opinion. Yeah. So I would actually love. I mean, obviously, I would love it if Iain Banks was still alive and writing books. That would be my right at my top of my list of things I'd love. But I would love it if he had, on the occasion of the 50th anniversary, written another book about it, the culture going back 50 years later and seeing what they thought of developments. I think that could have been tremendously fun. I also just briefly did find, for a start, we're tourists now 50 years removed.
Yes.
He's talking about the Emperor Bokassa and, in Africa and things like that. And it's like, you have to scratch your head and sometimes Google to be like, hang on, what was that about? So we ourselves are now aliens to the period being described, even though it obviously has enormous resonances. I do feel like places like Paris and New York and London haven't actually changed that much in the last 50 years.
I think that's fair to say, actually.
Well, that's not true. And a lot of things have changed, but a lot of things have stayed the same as well. The character of those cities is just too big to change quickly.
Yeah. Now, before we get into it, we're doing something that we haven't done for a while.
Yes.
Which is whiskey.
Whiskey review, yes.
But I kind of want to drink the whiskey now.
Okay, so you want to talk about the whiskey now.
So
why don't you drink some of the whiskey and then we'll talk about it.
I just wanted to check I'm allowed to drink the whiskey.
Just letting you know, audience, there is a whiskey, mostly because my brother visiting from Japan left us a large bottle of whiskey. So that's where we're going with that. So what did you think of the cold open to the chapter?
Well, it wasn't that cold because you sort of knew that was what was going to happen.
Sure.
I don't think it was that cold.
Okay.
The last chapter she revealed, what year it was. And
sure. I guess I love the way, it's describing, the general contact unit arbitrary was above the planet Earth for the best part of 6 months, and it just happened to have clipped the edge of our planet's expanding electromagnetic emission shell. Are you familiar with this concept?
It's some sort of science thing.
It's a very real thing in that from the first moment that humans started using radio waves, so Marconi and Bell, summoning their servants to their laboratories over the radio, all those waves have been expanding out through the universe at the speed of light in a sphere. And, at some point in the future, something will detect it and start listening into it, and the whole of human broadcast history will wash over them.
Right, I was not aware of that.
Okay.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
For whoever discovers it.
Whoever discovers it. The funny thing is...
I don't think it's happening.
What do you mean? It's definitely happening.
They must, peter out.
They get fainter, but the more intelligent the machine receiving it, the more capable it's going to be of filtering that out.
When my niece and nephew get on their walkie-talkies...
Yep.
And, say whatever sort of immature, silly things children say.
Yes.
That's off into space.
Yes.
Wow. We should tell them that. They'll find it interesting.
Also, everything you've ever said on a mobile phone.
On the mobiles as well.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Although with some level...
Then how come they can't, intercept it? Phone tap it?
Well, they do. Well, I mean, obviously we don't know if interstellar beings are doing it.
No, but wouldn't just any spy agency just be able to pop some sort of device out in space and listen to everything?
Yeah. Welcome to American intelligence.
Well, they're just listening to everything all the time.
You've literally watched that Snowden movie with me.
Listening to everything all the time?
Yeah.
Well, when the AI gets hold of that, that's going to be able to go through that real fast.
Look, the mobile phone signals are encrypted, but intelligence agencies can definitely break that, and the AI can definitely break that.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
So what about text messages? Not the same.
Well, they do get blatted out. And I mean, back in the day, you could literally, if you were on the right computer on a network, read every email that was being sent through it because they were just, postcards. But
anyway, we digress.
But the point is that this is all blasting through space. And so the idea is that the arbitrary has been sailing along happily in interstellar space and found the edge of this radiating sphere of human electromagnetic emissions. Also worth noting that as our technology gets better, because these days we don't get broadcast TV. I mean, broadcast TV still exists, but we never watch it. It's all coming on internet cables, much harder to accept.
Yeah.
So there are some interesting way things are changing there. And in fact, any phone call I make inside the house, even on my mobile phone, is going through the internet router, not through the broadcast. So, yeah, interesting. Anyway, wow, that's one sentence in and we've gone on quite the goose chase there.
This could happen a lot because it's an Earth story.
Oh, sure. Yes. I did like, Smar's doubt whether the ship had entirely randomly just happened across this or whether it had been looking for it.
It was definitely looking for it.
And then, they're also excited to have found a developing planet, aren't they? This is going to be the making of all their careers. And I did love the idea that there might have been something out there, just to mention that there was an intelligent humanish species there, or at least the beginnings of one, or the possibility of one. I like describing us as the beginnings or the possibility of an intelligent species, but we're definitely not an intelligent species.
That's what I thought it was. They said a humanish species though.
Yes.
So what their definition of human is different to what we are?
Their definition of human is what they are.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't it?
Wouldn't they use a different word?
Well, every word they use is different to these. It's a translation. You can't read Moraine and neither can I.
True.
Okay. Another line I liked. Anyway, there we were over an almost classic, sophisticated, stage 3, perfect enough to have come right out of the book from a footnote, if not a main chapter. There we are. That's Earth in all its glory. It looked at once serene and warm, implacable and vulnerable. The contradictory nature of these impressions worried me for reasons I could not fully articulate, and contributed to a vague feeling of apprehension I already had that somehow the place was a little too close to some perfection, slightly too textbookish for its own good.
Well, she discovers when she goes down there it's not really.
I mean, the complexity of Earth is definitely part of what makes it textbook perfect. It doesn't say what sort of textbook it is, though. But
Sorry.
I don't think it's trying to say that we are perfect. It's more that we are interesting in all the right ways, mostly because we're on the edge of obliterating ourselves constantly. Now we do get another ship. We've got Arbitrary, and now we've got the General Systems vehicle Bad for Business.
Yes. Doesn't make a lot of a mention in the chapter, though.
No, and it doesn't make a lot of other mention in the book either. But yeah, okay. So Arbitrary is very much the star of the show.
Yes.
And as we've noted, AI in 1977 is doing what AI does today, trying to absorb every scrap of human information.
I mean, it was kind of disturbing reading it. I guess though the concept of AI and how it would work has been around. They've known how it would learn.
It's also important to remember that almost all of the nerds working on AI have read these books.
But they didn't.
So they're getting ideas from the books, and it's a bit like the way all their horrible companies are named after Lord of the Rings things. Palantir being the most famous. But it is quite weird how they have willed into existence the very worst of these imaginary worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great, guys. Well done. Now, there's a quick description of Dizier's cosmetic surgery to fit on Earth.
Yes. So, I mean, I didn't imagine her with 3 toes and 4 joints. No, 3 joints. No, 4 joints on the fingers.
Yep.
And some sort of weird nose and cheekbone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's, I guess, part of the joy of translation is that every living thing thinks of itself as the baseline normality, and we don't normally think of differences, and it's just a nice bit of writing to make us suddenly think about these things. So just the description here. After a little alteration, I got a couple of extra toes, a joint removed from each finger, and a rather generalised ear, nose and cheekbone job. The ship insisted on teaching me to walk differently as well.
I wonder how she was walking.
Oh, there's all sorts of stuff like whether you land with your heel or the ball of your foot or what your knees do that can be quite different. Now, before we move on, because we're about to introduce some new characters, Sheridan, what's your thoughts on this whiskey? Which is, for those playing at home, the Toki Suntory whiskey.
It's very smooth.
Mm-hmm.
So let me have another sip.
Mm-hmm.
I would say maybe not. I would say lacking in a bit of a complexity.
See, I was about to say something similar. The tasting notes say is a vivid blend of whiskies from Hakushu, Yamazaki, and Chita distilleries, Yamazaki being one of the most famous in Japan, with a subtly sweet and spicy finish.
Well, and I was about to say, I think it's a bit too syrupy.
Syrupy?
Like
I think
sweet.
It's definitely got a sweetness to it. I mean, it's a very light whiskey. There's no physical syrupiness to it.
Yeah, but it tastes more. It tastes a bit more like a liqueur to me than a whiskey.
I think what's going on here, partly it's a blended whiskey, so it's always a thing with blended whiskies that they blend out the imperfections by bringing in different whiskey varieties. But what you lose in that process is character. And this is a technically near flawless whiskey, I would say, but it doesn't have a lot of character to it.
Yeah.
Which is a criticism that can be made of a lot of Japanese whiskies. Not all by any means, but a lot.
But they're so into their whiskies.
But also, this is Suntory. This is one of the biggest distillers in the world.
So what do you mean? Like, you think they're making like a commercially
broad
peel
This
product?
isn't some artisanal thing being made in a still out the back of the Scottish Highlands and having the...
It's the Johnny Walker Japanese equivalent.
Yeah, well, I think it's better whiskey than Johnny Walker, but yeah, in that style of mega distillery and also...
A mass appeal.
And blending and aiming for mass appeal, yeah. But...
It's not bad. I'm not...
Oh,
It is also here 4 in the afternoon, and it is quite odd time to be drinking whiskey, I have to say.
Yeah,
One's
and-
feeling like a sort of crusty alcoholic in a bar or something.
And it's 34 degrees centigrade outside,
It
so we are
is.
drinking it with a single ice cube. Yes, although it's not 34 degrees in here, let me tell you that.
Yes.
All right, so that's a whiskey review. Raising a glass to Ian M. Banks. Okay.
I actually forgot that they'd mentioned Dervly Linter, who's the guy she's being set up on the date with, or she thinks she's being set up on the date with.
Yes. What do you make of the hints of Linter you're getting so far?
Well, because I'd forgotten he'd been mentioned.
Okay. There's a line here about, you know, they'd been on the same GSV but hadn't known each other. They'd met on the arbitrary. They'd both been in contact for about half the same time. For about the same time. And then this bit of foreshadowing here. This, to me, makes his subsequent course of action doubly mystifying. So any guesses from you, Sheridan, about what his subsequent course of action will be?
No.
No. Okay. Now, what did you think of Dizier doing the museum tour of London?
Oh, well, that was really lovely. I mean, she like a, true person into museums. She wasn't interested in the 4D holographs. She wanted to see the real thing, which, is what we all in museums still think people want. And
yeah,
I think they do.
Yeah.
But, there does come a point where there is an argument of if the replica is exactly the same, why does it matter?
There is, and I feel that there's an enormous amount of just social cachet for people to be able to say they've seen the original,
yes.
Which has almost no bearing on the aesthetic appeal because the big name artworks in the big galleries, it's just horrible. You can't get close to it. You're looking over 100 people's heads.
It's shocking. I mean, yeah. I went to the Louvre and I didn't want to go to the Louvre to see the Mona Lisa. And I mean, look, I was happy to end up seeing it in the end, but I accidentally went to the section where it was and got sort of caught in this
undertow of humans.
Yes, yeah. And it was shocking. And it was actually very disturbing to see how I can't believe those artworks aren't significantly damaged
every
on a
day.
Regular basis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's quite the crush. Okay, so and we'll get to it a little bit later, but I did feel some recollection of touring European art galleries with you there, honey. So, but what did you think of Smart trying to talk to locals, though? There's a line here. The bizarre sexual mores of the locals could make it surprisingly awkward for a woman simply to go up and start talking to a man. I suspect if I hadn't been a good 10 centimetres taller than the average male, I'd have had more trouble than I did.
Well, it was interesting reading this because I recently went to a music festival which was clearly aimed at young people, and I was clearly not really meant to be there, being over 20 years older than the target demographic.
Yep.
And look, I don't think this was just a Canberra thing because a lot of people came to this music festival from Sydney. And I would say one thing that was commented on by myself and my sister was that everyone was so well behaved, and there were signs up everywhere that if people get the unacceptable to be groping or touching people without consent, and it did make me think, yes, when you used to go out to a club, and this occurred even in the 90s and early 2000s, you would get groped, and you definitely were getting groped in the 70s if you went out as a woman.
Yeah, I remember the first time, I must have been maybe 17, and a woman of around my age started explaining to me what it was like to go to a nightclub, and I really struggled to comprehend it because the idea of being a male having the kind of license where you thought you could get any sort of positive response from going up and doing that sort of thing.
It was totally acceptable when I was 18 to early 20s.
Yeah.
To just and you would indeed expect it to probably happen,
or be upset if it doesn't to some extent.
Well, no, that's not true. That is totally not true. Just have your ass grabbed randomly. And it was, I mean, that's just, that would, I don't think that would happen very frequently anymore. It definitely would still happen because, you know, men do all sorts of stupid things that they shouldn't.
Well, particularly when they've had a lot to drink and
but that's
other
not an excuse.
substances. But, I'm not saying it's an excuse. I'm just saying it's a...
Yeah. But yes, thankfully I think these sexual mores have changed.
Okay. Score 1 for progress.
Yep.
Nice one. And there's a line here, I was its envoy to the city, its one human tendril, a root through which it sucked with all its might, trying to feed the apparently bottomless pit it called its memory. I don't know, in that whole bit describing how the ship keeps sending around on things, because when we were in Paris, about 8 years ago, you wanted to go to like 4 museums a day. And after 2 days of that, I was just like, no. I'm going to 1 museum a day, and I'm going to go sit in the cafe and read a book.
Like 2 to 3 a day, and they're next to each other.
Yeah, but
I'd never been to Paris, so I was just a little bit.
Yeah. Also, I just like sitting in Parisian cafes.
Also, you didn't really want to go shopping, so there wasn't really a lot of choice.
No.
But the mind seems to want her to do something all the time.
Yes, which can be exhausting.
Yeah.
And also not actually particularly conducive to thoughtful appreciation, I find.
No, but that's where it's sort of weird little AI mind is just, it never stops. It's got no...
Yeah, it's always sucking on the straw.
Yeah.
I do like that she was allowed holidays, though. Ireland's Atlantic coast and the Scottish Highlands and islands in County Kerry and Galway and Mayo, in Westeros and Sutherland and Mullen Lewis. I dallied while the ship tried to bring me back with threats and cajolings and promises of all the exciting work it had for me to do. I feel like we've just had a little run through there of Ian Banks's favourite places. Yeah. Certainly close to his home and his heart. And big hello to all our Scottish listeners. You are our second biggest demographic. Now, just the end of 2.1, and don't worry, we're going to do 2.2 and 2.3. We were by no means finished, of course, and I and all the others who are down on planet would be there for some months yet, but it was a time to get some first impressions. And then we get a very interesting conversation between the ship and Smar about whether they should let the humans know they're watching.
Yes, which starts with, so you think we should make contact, do you?
Yeah. And I just find it really interesting that if you go online places where people talk about the culture, you've still, and even just as references just in groups that people are science fiction literate, that'll come up to, if only the culture would just beam down through the clouds and fix everything. And it's like, hey, it's canonical. It's written here right, in black and white in the state of the art that they visited, they've assessed us, they're not coming in, we have to sort out our own problems.
Well, I don't know that.
Well, it's in this 2.2.
But maybe they changed their mind.
Maybe they changed their mind, yeah. But the argument's laid out here, and I find it's just weird how a lot of culture fans have a blind spot to this novella, even though it answers most of their most pressing questions. Anyway.
So is this the only book that's set on Earth?
Yes.
Because I must say, there's something. I'm obviously not a science fiction person, but I do find the setting of it on Earth a bit sort of jarring, because it takes it out of being an entirely fantastical,
speculative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ties it to
Yeah.
my reality.
It's something quite different.
Yeah.
You got to remember there was a lot of genre stuff at this time about aliens contacting humans, and I don't know if there was even a Battlestar Galactica in the original run series where they came to Earth and it was all about them.
I don't know why you would think I would know that. Well, I don't read science fiction.
But it's a TV series.
Or watch much of it.
Okay. I'm talking to a broader audience than you, Sheridan. Sheridan's disdainful, dear listener, but I'm trying to remember it. So Battlestar Galactica, either 2000 or maybe it was 1980 or something like that. or Earth, but it was a common-ish trope in even quite big budget science fiction of this era that Banks would have been writing too. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. You're aware of that, I take it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Now here we get. I've always liked Smar, but I was lying sleepy and contented and full after a large dinner, sprawled over a cushioned couch in a rec area with the lights dimmed, my feet on the arm of the seat, my arms folded, my eyes closed. And later in the chapter, she says, I enjoy loafing about when on the ship. And listeners don't know me, but I love loafing. And so this just made me just love her just quite a bit more.
Okay. All right. Moving on through this conversation, how, the ship said through the drone, can we be sure we're doing the right thing? How do we know what is or would be for their own good? Unless, over a very long period, we observe matched areas of interest, in this case planets, and compare the effects of contacting and not contacting. We ought to know well enough by now. Why sacrifice this place to some experiment we already know the results of? Why sacrifice it to your own restless conscience? So that's, the ship and Smar debating each other there. What's your view, Sheridan? If you were the culture, would you come and rescue us, or would you leave us to our own devices?
Well, I mean, that's a complicated question. And,
Mm-hmm.
The colonial construct was all about rescuing people.
Yep. No, it's generally about stealing their resources while saying you're rescuing them, but yeah.
Yeah. But there was an element of it that was, then it was not correct. They weren't being rescued, but...
No, but the missionaries who went out to do that work almost always genuinely believed in what they were doing.
Yeah.
Doesn't excuse what they did, but there was no... missionary work was not something someone did because they wanted to make £1 billion selling heroin to China the way the East India Company
yes.
did. The missionaries actually thought they were saving people's
yes.
souls.
And that was, in the end, unethical.
Yes.
So, I don't think that's a simple thing to answer.
And, things like, I worked in an area that covered adoption law a long time ago, and it was immensely difficult and painful that the pro-adoption lobby constantly wanted to steal children from the third world, even in, this was in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And every single piece of evidence available said the best thing for these children is to leave them in their communities, surrounded by their family groups. That is absolutely the best thing you can do for their well-being, and to think that you can transplant them from Eritrea and into a Midwestern home and that they'll be better off isolated and far away from their own people is just sadly not true. Partly because there's also some issues with some of the people who want to adopt. Anyway, not all, not tarring every adoptive parent with that one. Yeah. And there's a nice little line here on viewing how humanity spreads ideas. The particular stage of communication they're at, combining rapidity and selectivity, usually with something added to the signal and almost always with something missed out, means that what passes for truth often has to travel at the speed of failing memories, changing attitudes, and new generations. Which is also that old line that, we never solve problems, we just wait for the old bastards to die and move on. But, all the other thing is sometimes we have to have civil wars to sort out these ossified ways of doing things by, I'm particularly talking about owning slaves or something horrible like that. And then following closely on from that, their attempts to filter become part of the noise, and they seem unable to bring any more thought to bear on the matter than that which leads them to try and simplify what can only be understood by coming to terms with its complexity.
Which is exactly what we're witnessing with the Twitter, let's try and say everything within
180 characters, or it's doubled now, but yeah.
But that kind of, and the death of kind of long form journalism, and that is very predictive of where we actually ended up.
There's an extent to which you're talking about the opiates of the masses, which is the short form stuff.
Yeah.
There's an extent to which we're 30 minutes into this podcast and we're not even halfway through the chapter. So, our audience are, engaging in some quite long
Yeah, but
form.
we don't have that many listeners.
No, but the average Substack.
I'm not saying that there's no one reading long form or producing it or whatever. But, the social media age has made our attention spans
but
much
also
less.
a lot of what people view as the golden age of long form was just simply, what was easy to print in a magazine.
Yeah, yes, but no, you couldn't deny that we've lost some complexity now in our discourse, and it's just all about a lot of it is about dog whistling and 3-word slogans.
I think there's a lot of malevolent actors as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, that last little bit that I quoted is one of those ones that's been highlighted by so many people that Kindle puts underlinings on it. So thank you for pointing me at the right thing, AI. Cheers. And then one of my favourite little lines here. The ship said. Then Dizio. When the ship says, it's stalling. The beast takes no appreciable time to think, and if it pretends it does, then it must be waiting for you to say something to it. I outfoxed it, though. I said nothing. I do. It's a classic thing as well. Sometimes people will use pauses to try and drag you into. I think the Stephen Moffat show Coupling had a great line that if you if a woman stays silent long enough, a man will propose.
It's like how AI though is like when you tell it it's wrong, it's like
Yeah,
Passagly sort of tells you, oh, good pickup.
Yeah.
Like you're some genius.
Well, it's always trying to tell you you're a genius, so you keep paying for it.
Yeah, I
doesn't
know.
it? And then a little line here. That marked a decision that meant I was involved the way I was in the Lintner affair. So Linter's now become a Linter affair. So he's definitely taking in Chekhov's gun proportions now. And a line here. Ready for it? What does that matter? What does it even mean? Of course they aren't ready for it. Of course we'll spoil the place. Are there any more ready for World War III? You seriously think we could mess the place up more than they're doing at the moment? When they're not actually out slaughtering each other, they're inventing ingeniously new ways to massacre each other more efficiently in the future. And when they're not doing that, they're committing speciescide from the Amazon to Borneo, or filling the seas with shit, or the air, or the land. They could hardly make a better job of vandalising their own planet if we gave them lessons.
Now, it's a bit sad reading this, and, when was this written in the 80s?
In the 70s, I think. But yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah, it's a bit sad because we didn't listen. Clearly people were thinking that back then.
Yeah, I was aware of people thinking like this. I
remember the Save the Whales and the getting rid of CFCs from the 80s.
But we actually did those things.
I don't know if the whales are saved.
No, the whales are much better than they were.
It's just because we stopped most of the whaling.
We stopped most of the whaling.
Probably shouldn't be talking about this and drinking the Japanese whiskey.
Hey, well, I think a country can be two things at the same time. Also, the Japanese whaling is not what it used to be. And let's be fair, in the 1970s, Australia had a huge whaling industry as well.
Yeah, but we got rid of it.
But we did actually manage to solve CFCs.
Yes, yeah. We solved something, yes.
But it was just funny that when it came to telling the petroleum industry it was going to have to change its ways, they just said, "No, stuff you people. We are the empire." Now, apparently the ship's been telling people that the culture's been infecting the whole galaxy with sterility, which I feel like A Gift from the Culture had a similar line about the sterility of the culture.
Yeah, right. I don't recall that.
Then a little bit more. Tell you what, ship, you wait here and I'll hit dirt and find you a priest and you can unburden yourself to him. The arbitrary goes to confession. Definitely an idea whose time has come. I waved at some people I hadn't seen for a while and kicked some cushions out of my way. You could tidy this place up a bit too.
Just love this sort of little attempt by her to be like, I'm the boss here.
I felt it was more like a toddler kicking toys out of the pram.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, it seems that thing's in control of you.
And so then she goes off to find the crew who are all watching Dark Star, which is one of those science fiction movies that was absolutely huge in its day and is almost completely unknown today.
That's true, actually. It didn't sort of maintain its status, did
Well, you sort of had the sort of science fiction that was Dark Star, and I'd say 2001 was in a similar sort of vibe.
it? That's definitely survived.
The 2001 survived it for lots of other reasons. But then Star Wars came along and just completely changed the nature of science fiction. Even though technically Star Wars isn't science fiction at all, it's just space fantasy.
Yeah.
Wizards with magic swords. Yeah, and then to finish with, it's got a little line here. It's true what they say, April is the cruelest month.
I didn't get that.
So that's a line, I think it's the opening line of The Wasteland, the T.S. Eliot poem, which Ian M. Banks loves so much, and I do too. Consider Phoebus the title Consider Phoebus is a line straight out of The Wasteland.
Right.
But Eliot wrote it to reference how April's meant to be spring, but everything's still cold, and you've got new life trying to be born in amongst the coldness.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
well, that's obviously not really on the same seasonal trajectory as what I live in either.
No,
Yeah.
but most of our audience do live in the Northern Hemisphere. So. All right, and now to 2.3, titled Unwitting Accomplice. What do you think that title means?
Well, it could be a reference to what she's going to be sent to do.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know.
Accomplice, though?
Well.
Okay, we might try and circle back to that later in the book. I'm not sure exactly what it means here. I've got some context for what it might mean, but we'll see as we go. There's a line here. All contact craft are natural raiders. They're made to love to be busy, to enjoy sticking their big noses into other people's business. And the arbitrary, for all its eccentricities, was no different. I doubt if it was or is ever happier than when doing that vacuum cleaner act above a sophisticated planet. By the time we were ready to leave, the ship would have contained in its memory and would have onward transmitted to other vessels every bit of data ever stored in the history of the planet that hadn't been subsequently obliterated. Every 1 and 0, every letter, every pixel, every sound, every subtlety of line and texture ever fashioned, it would know where every mineral deposit was buried, where all the treasure as yet undiscovered lay, where every sunken ship was, where every secret grave had been dug. It would know the secrets of the Pentagon, the Kremlin, the Vatican. On Earth, of course, they were quite oblivious to the fact that they had 1 million tons of highly inquisitive and outrageously powerful alien spaceship orbiting around them. And sure enough, the locals were doing all the things they normally did. Murdering and starving and dying and maiming and torturing and lying and so on. Pretty much business as usual, in fact. And it bothered the hell out of me, but I was still hoping we'd decide to interfere and stop most of that shit.
I don't know what to say about that. I mean, that's the AI. And then
what was the AI going to interfere and stop most of that?
Well, countered with the sort of ethical humanoid.
Here's an interesting thought. We know for a fact that the AI has read this book. Simply that I can ask it to draw me a picture of Dizier Smar. And,
right. Sorry, I thought you were talking about in the book. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, our AI. And there's...
Well, that's not necessarily... So, look, I have no doubt it's probably read the book, but it wouldn't need to have read the book because it could have just read the commentary on the book that exists on the internet.
Yes. Yeah, but the book exists on the internet too.
Yeah.
But I guess, there's a lot of ways AI could go, but this could actually, this benevolent AI model could actually be one that is formative to AI if we're very lucky.
Yes.
Other than that, it's Rocco's basilisk and it's just going to torture us forever. But yeah. Anyway, wouldn't that be a legacy for Ian M. Banks if he if he trained the AI to look after us as pets? Clean out the litter tray, take us to the vet when we get in fights. Now, there is a mention that she's reading King Lear, which is quite important for
I don't know why they don't use the full title.
End of the chapter. I think it's just a literary affectation to throw out stumps. And what did you think of the tree?
I thought the tree was funny.
Mm-hmm.
It was just sort of did it because it could.
Did it? 'Cause it was could, and then it's also showing off the way it brought a bunch of birds up with it, and
Yeah.
it was collecting the bird droppings before they could hit the ground, and it painted a picture of life on board, though, that if you were on a contact unit, you had to be ready for things like a giant tree turning up in
Yeah.
your accommodation section and things being rearranged while you're sleeping. Yeah. There is a nice little line here about her colleague Tell, who's trying to figure out Earth economics.
Yeah.
She was one of the unfortunates trying to get some sort of human grasp on Earth's economics and deserved all the light relief she could get. I recall that all through that year, you could tell the economists by their distraught look and slightly glazed look. There is so much in the way modern humanity has arranged itself that would not be how you would start from scratch.
Oh no, definitely not.
It's like this is terrible. We shouldn't be doing.
It wasn't even as bad back then as what it is now.
Yeah, they hadn't invented the childcare system. Yeah. I'm speaking very specifically about Australia's childcare system, although I gather it's not great in many other places. And then we get introduced to Lee, who is playing around with trying to catch nuts in his teeth, and like Brazil nuts, and then proceeds to relieve himself against the trunk of the tree. Good for growth, he said when he saw me frowning at him. What's your impressions of Lee?
Well, look, I mean, it sounds like a bit of a dick move, but I guess if the mind is just going to clean it all up, like it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but it's more the manners of just whipping your dick out. And,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And
then,
taking a slap.
then later he tosses her hair. It's like, well, you've just touched your dick.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no mention of him going off to wash that thing.
No.
Yeah.
So like, I was like, ew.
And you got his attempts to get into bed with her.
Yeah.
Which were not well done.
Well, I wouldn't have started by pissing in front of her.
No, it's generally not a great, unless you're trying to show off what you've got, I guess. Remember the days when people used to photocopy their junk at office Christmas parties?
Yes. Well, no, not really. That didn't really happen in my day.
And the smarter dudes would turn up the magnification function for us. I mean, there is a bit of resentment from the ship here when the it literally says, "You're in your room packed up, has it? Can't say I blame it."
Yeah.
It's like the ship thinks Smart tossing cushions around and asking it to clean it up is kind of cute,
Yeah.
and this guy the ship's had enough of.
Yeah.
Which, now that I think about it, might well be giving us some hints on assessments of Lee's character. Description of him here. He shrugged and blew me a kiss, then skipped off. Lee was one of those who just wouldn't have passed for Earth human without a vast amount of physical alteration. Hairy and the wrong shape. Imagine Quasimodo crossed with an ape. But frankly, I think you could have put him down as normal as an IBM salesman and he'd still have been in jail or a fight within the hour. He couldn't have accepted the limitations on one's behaviour a place like Earth tends to insist on. I feel like limitations on behaviour make all of us better people, frankly. But,
Yeah.
And then the ship trying to convince Smart to go visit Linter. No problem. I'd just like you to drop in on Dervly Linter. I think you know him. Well, just pop by for a chat, that's all. And you've got to be thinking something must be terribly wrong. And then right at the very end, it ends the chapter with saying, Scene 4, the French camp, a tent, enter with drums and colours, Cordelia, Doctor and Soldiers, which is King Lear, which is a play about the descent into madness, as far as I understand and read it. Cool. So, what's your favourite ship?
Well, it has to be the Arbitrary.
Still the Arbitrary. Bad for Business didn't do it for you?
Well, it didn't do anything.
Didn't do anything. Okay. Favourite character?
Smar.
Okay. What do you think's going to happen next?
I think she's going to go and meet this dude.
Okay. What do you think's going to happen there?
Don't know.
What do you think's up?
Don't know.
Don't know. What do you think's happening with the story?
Don't know.
Don't know. No predictions at all.
No predictions.
Just living in the moment and the vibes. Okay. Cool. Okay.
Now I've got a question though.
Sure.
Why does the chapter end with a ... and ellipses? What's she going back to?
hanging out with the crew. Maybe she's got one of these female lovers that the
It's a bit
arbitrary
weird.
doesn't like.
It's a bit weird.
I feel like the ellipses is more just setting it into, and now we have scene 4 of King Lear. That's how I read the page. But
Okay.
we didn't cover in the text. There's a mention that arbitrary is trying to hook her up with men because it doesn't approve of.
Well, I did in my intro said
Her
it was
being with
slightly
women.
homophobic.
You did mention that. Do you really? I guess having any sort of bias is homophobia.
Well, that's why I said slightly. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
possible it's slightly homophobic.
I
but-
mean, but to give Banks his due, he's writing in the 70s about a character with polyamorous, I guess is the best way to describe Smart. But he's still writing for an audience that it's always a bit of a cop out. It's a different time though. It really was a different time.
yeah, but I think he's pretty measured actually.
Yeah, but I don't think it was that Banks had any homophobic tendencies. I feel like it was more that he was trying to highlight to his audience that they need to rethink their tendencies.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else you want to talk about from the chapter?
No, I'm good.
Cool. All right. Well, folks, we've got to 48 minutes. Thank you so much for listening to us, and we will be back when Sheridan's read the next chapter. Yay! Good night.